I'm Jamie Heineman.
And I'm Adam Savage.
We're going to find out what happens when you strap a rocket to a 67 Chevy.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up, we turn a Chevy into a 350-mile-per-hour road warrior.
This is so exciting. I'm going to have a grinectomy.
Pop rocks and soda. Urban myth or recipe for disaster.
Dude, your stomach's going to burst.
Here on MythBusters, we're not just going to retell the stories.
Small pin.
We're going to put them to the test.
We're prepared to put our bodies on the line.
There's just one problem. Some aren't myths at all.
Which one would that be?
I don't know yet.
So why should you trust these guys? Well, Jamie and Adam have over 30 years in model building, animatronics, and toy prototyping. They've worked in features, television, theater, and games. They can build just about anything, and probably have.
This is M5, my special effects shop. Come on in and have a look around.
Jamie's amassed an awesome collection of tools, talent, and techniques. If we can't find it here,
I'm trying to locate a pig's stomach.
there's always Adam's eclectic collection.
I come from the planet Butthead.
And if that fails, the guys are backed by experts in folklore, crime, medicine, and engineering.
Ow, ow,
Jamie and Adam are supposed to be experts in what's real and what's not. And they'll need every trick in the book.
So where do we begin? What do we got? Let's go.
This is the big one. What we have is a 1967 Chevy Impala that was taken out into the desert, and somebody had put a rocket booster on it. Now, they found out about it because there was a smoldering wreckage that the highway patrol there found.
We pieced together a gentleman or an individual that had put a JATO, or a rocket assist takeoff unit, on an older model vehicle.
The guy apparently was an Air Force sergeant, former Air Force sergeant.
He made sure he had a long, straight road and there was nothing around.
He got up to highway speed, about 80 miles an hour, fired the things off.
The car had accelerated from like 80 to 300 miles per hour in a couple seconds.
Yeah. There was a curve in the road, a slight increase or upgrade, and a mountain shortly thereafter.
So he applies the brakes, and of course the brakes burn out.
They found about 1.5 miles of skid mark.
He didn't make the turn, he went airborne, and he crashed into the side of the mountain approximately 100 or so feet up in the air.
So do we have any corroboration of this, or any photos, or anybody come forward?
Well, that's our job to pursue that, and we need to get a hold of a 67 Chevy or something as close as we can to it, and need to get a hold of a JATO or a RATO, or again something equivalent to it.
I foresee some wreckage, actually.
Well,
personally, there's so many variables here in terms of, you know, a car that's got to accelerate even to 150 miles an hour for a 35-year-old car. It'll look really cool.
It'll look really cool. I mean, that's going to be big flame shooting out the back. It's going to be great. I can't think of anything more fun than doing this.
No, you know what? I really can't.
I first heard about the story approximately 1994 when I was, my job was a spokesman for the Department of Public Safety. I received a phone call from a local reporter asking about a Darwin Award that was on the internet. The way the story read was that the Arizona Department of Public Safety, or the Highway Patrol, was the ones that did the investigation on it. I thought it was a very real possibility that it could have happened, because Arizona is home to several air bases. Thus, military personnel could have gotten a hold of a JATO unit to use in this fashion.
JATO, or Jet Assisted Takeoff, has been around since the Second World War. We should call them RATOs, because each canister is filled with solid rocket propellant. A single unit puts out 1,000 pounds of thrust for 12 to 15 seconds. Up to 8 JATOs are used when large military aircraft are operating with heavy loads or from short runways.
Do we think the military's just going to hand over one of these JATO bottles? What do we do if they don't actually let us have one?
Well, I kind of doubt that they will. This is not the kind of thing that you would want to let the general public have access to.
Yeah.
Air Force Public Affairs. I'm not at my desk right now, so leave a message.
We'd love to have the military there and involved. We would like the assistance of the Blue Angels. We're trying to get a hold of and get the military's assistance with operating one of these rados or JATOs, just so it's clear we're not trying to get a hold of one of these things and do whatever we want with it. We want you involved.
Okay.
Well, we actually got to talk to somebody. She said they're very expensive units, and that I don't know whether it's going to be possible. This is an unusual request.
Most good urban legends have good details, names, places, dates. In this case, often it's a Chevy Impala that the man was driving.
So we need to find a '67 Chevy. I wonder where we're going to do that.
Well, I picked this up at a flea market, actually. This here is a '67 Chevy Impala. That's our goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to find a junker, something with a crappy body. All we need is for it to run.
We live in America where, unless you're in New York or a place that has a subway, you must have a car to survive.
Not an Impala, we got a Pontiac.
It runs? The Pontiac runs?
Not at the moment, it just needed the transmission on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Only?
Yeah, but you know.
And a car not only is about survival, but it's also a symbol of adolescent freedom. When you get a car, you can leave the nest.
We're going to be putting some rockets on the top of the car and setting them
Oh, like
off.
the guy in the desert, the old
Yeah.
urban
That's
legend.
it.
So you want
Exactly.
it's a 72 Impala or 69 Impala you're supposed
Yeah.
to use. Yeah, everybody.
We'll take anything that looks like, I mean, a Falcon within a couple of years.
Something of that
kind of-
vintage, as long
You
as it
want it to
runs. Don't care about.
T-Bird? You want a Thunderbird?
Well, it got to be cheap.
62. Well, $750.
That's
Let's have a look
very
at it.
plausible.
It's also a symbol of sex. This is where a young man can have his first sexual experiences in this car.
Oh, yeah. That's the we're done.
I'll be kind of ashamed to destroy it.
We don't have to destroy it. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh my God, I'm loving this. Oh, look at that. Wow. Oh, this automatic windows. Oh, yeah.
Is that your premise, though, to do that urban legend?
Yeah.
Why don't you should get a Chevy, because I always heard the story with the Chevy. Because I always understand it'd be like a 69 to 72 Impala.
Okay.
Chevrolet, the beautiful shape for 1965.
The Chevy Impala is an ideal candidate for urban legend status. It was first introduced in 1958. From the start, it was a prestige car within the reach of the average American.
Unmistakable. A completely new look time cannot wash away.
By the end of the millennium, sales exceeded 13 million, making the Chevy Impala the most popular full-size car in American history.
See the beautiful shapes of Chevrolet for 1965 at your Chevrolet dealers now.
We need it to run.
Need it to run.
Needs
This one
it.
may run. It's got a bone motor in it. What do you mean? You're gonna put rockets on it? It'll go.
We're going to destroy the car.
Of course you are. That's half the fun.
Thank you anyway.
Thanks very much.
No problem.
Despite its popularity, the Impala is proving as hard to procure as JATO rocket.
We called you last week concerning procuring a JATO. procuring a JATO or a RATO. So far, we've had very little luck with getting anybody to return our calls.
I'm Sergeant Bob Stein with the Arizona Department of Public Safety, and you're watching MythBusters.
Jamie and Adam are following a promising new lead on that 67 Chevy.
Well, we're going to strap some rockets to its back end.
Yeah. You know that thing where they took it out in the desert and set those up?
I got the perfect car for you.
We're going to do that.
You got it.
It's a 67, all right, but unfortunately, an Oldsmobile.
Heavy.
Very.
450.
So far, we haven't seen a single 60s Impala.
We were looking at a T-Bird. It was that they had for $750. It was pretty nice.
Adam's beautiful T-Birds already been sold.
67.
This is your car if you want a car to put a rocket on. She's fast.
Just as we've given up hope of finding our car in time,
It's officially an Impala.
Would it be all right if I drive it around the block?
Oh, yeah. Oh, whoa, whoa.
I got it, lady.
it's a working 66 Chevy Impala with some decidedly non-standard features.
This is without a doubt our car. It's Destiny.
I think the hydraulic aspect of it is just hysterical. You know, this thing we get a couple of get the rocket mounted right up here. I mean, this is nice and sturdy.
We're gonna mount it on top?
That's what the legend shows.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. We are 8.5 miles from where we bought the car.
It's 100 degrees. We're 3 hours from the shop. And thanks to a blocked fuel filter, our rocket car is doing exactly 0 miles per hour. Thank goodness Adam's got the gold breakdown package.
So, the Air Force apparently called us back and turned us down on the JATO rocket?
Permission denied.
Yeah, I think, did they call us back again just to deny permission again without being asked?
Twice.
So we got these things.
Yeah.
How are we gonna, these are the hobby rockets. This is like an example, one of the tubes. How are we gonna fire these off?
Well, these are actually more powerful than the JATOs. The ones that, you know...
But they're smaller, how's that possible?
Well, we're going to use more of them. While they're running, they put out 1,500 pounds of thrust as opposed to 1,000 pounds, but they only last for 4 seconds. We're going to get several of them, and we'll set them off successively. So we're going to put 3 of them on, and we'll probably put them on the car like this. We have a qualified operator that you have to have a license a federal license to be able to purchase these things and operate them.
I would hope so.
Yeah, and so we're going to have those guys set them off, and
so that's what it's going to look like.
yeah, that's essentially what we're going to do. We'll have to reinforce it and everything.
That's all fine in theory, but it's an awful lot of power to put on the roof of a junker.
1 pound of thrust is 2 horsepower.
So one of those rocket motors at 1,500 pounds of thrust is 3,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
That'll make our Chevy almost 4 times as powerful as an Indy car.
Think of putting another car on top of this car. It's that kind of weight that's up there.
So we want to probably build some kind of steel cage within the car's body to support this.
Yeah, we need to have.
We don't just want to like tie strap it to the roof or anything.
Yeah, that would be a bad idea. Could probably rip the roof right off the car.
Oh, how about that? There
Adam, you're gonna get sick.
I believe I'm already sick.
Give me the fire extinguisher. What the?
This time it's no joke. The fire's burning through the hydraulic lines.
That sawdust with the hydraulic fluid's a nice little kind of wicky thing.
Yeah. Wiki. I was thinking that we would drill up through here and bolt the top frame onto here.
With this design, the whole roof structure becomes part of the rocket rack.
Well,
those 1, 2, 3, let's jump together.
These tubes will hold the hobby rocket motors firmly in place.
Fins for the rocket. Now, it turns out besides this legend, other people have strapped rockets to cars before, haven't they?
Yeah, there are world speed records that have occurred by using this.
In 1965, Walt Afrons built the first rocket-powered land speed car. Wingfoot Express 2 was initially designed with 10 JATO units, but that wasn't nearly enough. 25 rockets eventually blasted the car to an unofficial top speed of 605 miles per hour.
Of course, you have to remember that those are unusual cars. They're usually very long and
they're basically
built
like
for
rocks
this.
with wheels.
Yeah.
So this also begs the question, where do we fire this car off?
There are some lakes, dry lake beds to the south of here towards LA, so we'll probably try one of those first to see whether we can get access to something like that.
Jamie's having second thoughts about getting behind the wheel.
If this behaves like the legend says, we're going to have a 3,000 to 4,000 pound projectile out there. And I guess the other thing that I thought, with that in mind, if we do lose control of it, obviously we don't want to be in the car. So we're probably going to...
You don't want to be in the car?
I would love to be in the car. But
I think you should drive the car.
Well, I think I should too, but we've radio-controlled cars before, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, so we'll make it radio-controlled?
Yeah, I think that's the safest way of dealing with it.
Oh, that's the coolest toy ever.
Yeah, it's a big kid's RC car. You want to do it?
It's not quite as simple as a radio-controlled toy. At 300 miles per hour, the forces on the steering servos will be immense.
Servos are motors that are positionable, so we can precisely control the steering on this. Right. We need to have something pretty good, because if it's going that fast, we need to really be able to dial in on the aim, or it may go out of control.
The transmitter also has dangerous limitations.
One of the things is that these radio controls are only good for 1,000 meters or so, plus or minus.
About half a mile.
Yeah. For us to, if this thing is going 300 miles an hour, it's going to get out of range from us real quick, even if we're driving alongside. So we're probably going to have to think of ways of either getting we're going to have to go out and rent a really, really fast car, or we'll have to get a helicopter. It'd probably be the safest way of dealing with it. I'm going to try and start it.
All right.
Yeah!
Jamie's going to need every bit of control when he hits top speed.
At 350 miles an hour, a Chevrolet Impala, all the windows will pop out of it and the roof will peel off.
Andy Granatelli knows all about speed. He holds 21 Hall of Fame records. Many were set in conventional vehicles. He claims the top speed for a street machine, an awesome 241 miles per hour. At this velocity, wind resistance is the biggest enemy.
The car would become airborne at a little over 200 miles an hour. The car would just raise the front of it up and would flip over. In other words, because the air would get underneath the front of the car.
Yeehaw!
Jamie plans to use the Chevy's hydraulics to combat those forces. Lowering the hood should give considerable aerodynamic efficiency. It will also help with what he's been told is the most vital factor.
The most difficult thing about this whole deal is probably getting this straight on the car. There's no real true center line that we know is actually the direction the car is going to go. We have, according to the experts, a 6-degree misalignment is going to put about 100 to 150 pounds of push on the tail of the car. You come over that way.
I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm just fine. Nothing's broken. Nothing's hurt. That was a little bit of a shock. I just had a massive release of adrenaline.
Okay, so...
I am my own stunt double.
That way.
All right.
Yeah, that's as good as anything. So that's right about 86. And that's right about 86.
Beautiful. Let's tack this puppy down.
I can't wait to set this thing off. I'm going to be in a helicopter, and I've never ridden a helicopter before, radio controlling a 3,000 horsepower rocket-driven radio-controlled car.
What could be better? You know, you could just kill yourself when you were done, because it's just like, it ain't getting any better than that.
It's all going downhill from there.
Hi, I'm Andy Granatelli, and you're watching MythBusters.
And so the fun begins. It's such a treat to see the sunrise over the desert. What am I saying? It's a treat to fly over a rocket car in the desert.
Finally, all the pieces are coming together on the lake bed. With a bit of luck, we'll soon know if the JATO rocket myth is indeed possible.
I'm just setting the fail-safe on this. These radios actually leave an instruction with the receiver to return to a certain position if they should lose communication.
Yeah, I think so.
Jamie will be joined in the chopper by Eric Gates. He and his brother Dirk have over 20 years' experience in amateur rocketry. They plan to fire the motors by remote control.
Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Jamie's going to do a dry run in the car. The rocket guys, I think, are going to do a test fire, so all systems are good. I expect it's probably about an hour to actual firing.
The remote control and fail-safe are working perfectly.
Everything went fine on that dry run. We got all 3
Well, you know, I'm not at all happy. The reason being that that unless something goes wrong on the first test, it makes me nervous because that means something's going to go wrong later.
How you doing? Adam Savage.
If this new visitor is right, Jamie may just get his wish.
I looked at it, the mount's not strong enough, number one. The mount's not straight either. We warned them about straightening the mount. It's got to be dead straight or it'll steer the car all the time.
George should know. Not only did he work on the Apollo program, he's conducted numerous speed trials out here.
8 points welded into the frame of the car.
I hope it works. I mean, you know, because I don't want you to dig up my leg bed.
Not exactly comforting words for our final briefing.
The helicopter's going to do a pass around just like we did the last time. About the time that it passes in front of the car, I've released the brakes and the car is going to start to roll.
Like the Myth, our plan is to get the car up to 80 miles per hour before firing the rockets.
Giving it a lot of gas.
When the motors go, they're going to have a tendency to scare you. So when you're hearing the 3, 2, 1, brace yourself, don't veer.
Sound like a jet engine. It's going to get a 15-foot flame out the back.
15. Yep.
Is that when the rocket fires, is it going to cause the...
We don't know. We don't know. The car might end over end, whatever. You want to be far enough away that you have, you know, several seconds.
Cool.
And if you do, a general rule of thumb with that kind of thing, if you do see something coming at you, go off at right angles to it. Don't try to outrun it.
The crew are not the only ones who'll be keeping a close eye on the rocket car. It seems to have attracted the interest of security at nearby Edwards Air Force Base.
Let's have a good bird, man. Yeah. Get your game face on.
Good luck.
This is so exciting. That cardboard box at the front of the truck.
I'm going to have a grinectomy. Green light to go. They're starting their circle now. Brakes are coming off. We are a go.
Nothing's happening. We're aborting? Yep, we're aborting. We are aborting. We are aborting. Copy that. Copy that. Let's abort the whole thing. Okay, helicopter's coming in.
Doesn't it go through the inside? So how do you get it?
Looks like the car's old gremlins are back to haunt us. With all the focus on horsepower and thrust curves, we never did fix that fuel problem.
The problem is that this is an older car, and we've been stirring up sediment in the bottom of the tank, and it's gotten into the fuel filter and clogged the fuel filter. All we have to do is pull the filter out and flush it out once in a while. And we should get a good run here soon. That sort of answers my need for a small failure. I'll accept that one as a small failure.
To go. Car's starting to roll. Okay, we're in line. Okay, coming out of full throttle. I'm coming hot with the electronics. All right. Okay, good luck. Go ahead and set them off. Okay, helicopters at speed. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Fire. 3, 2, 1, firing. 3, 2, 1, firing. We got them all.
It's been a long road, but finally, we have liftoff. 3 rockets, 4 seconds, and 1,500 pounds of thrust apiece. That's 3,000 horsepower for 12 seconds. just like a J-To.
That was hysterical. That was absolutely outrageous.
What kind of speed do you think it got to?
I don't know. The helicopter was having trouble keeping up with it.
The chopper's top speed is 130 per hour.
Hey! Ah! That was beautiful. We lost track of it.
Oh yeah, we couldn't keep up with it with the helicopter. It just once those suckers lit, it just like.
It's one thing to see him go up, it's another thing to see him go horizontal.
Leave you guys in the dust.
Just the dust trail from the car is so beautiful.
I was quite impressed. I was hoping it would go good, and it did. You know, I was a little apprehensible, but no. Jamie did his homework.
Over the years, many have claimed they were the inspiration for this story. For those who really tried it, the results were the same. In 1957, Dodge was filming an ad on this same lake. They replaced the gas tank with a single J-To bottle. The car topped out at 140 miles per hour.
So, Jamie, given the structure of the original myth that the guy ignited the rocket, accelerated to like 350 miles per hour, supposedly hit the edge of a curve of the road and was airborne for several seconds before hitting the side of a cliff, do you think it's possible?
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
They'd have to have at least around 4 times the power that we did.
Back in '46, Andy Granatelli and his brothers did just that. They put 8 J-Tos on an Indy racer.
The explosion was horrendous, and the thrust was such that you couldn't believe it. We looked at each other as if we were going to the moon. The rocket left not a little fizzle like this, but for a lot 300 feet long, for wider than the road and higher than the telephone wires, a tail of fire. And the car accelerated up to approximately 180 miles an hour. I mean, and believe me, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Andy's antics may well be the origin of the J-To myth. One thing's for sure, we can all quit calling the Arizona Department of Public Safety.
There never was a crash site found in Arizona, nothing even vaguely familiar. On occasion, we still get people inquiring about it, and we posted it on our website stating that it is a myth.
That was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, that was great. Just those few seconds being in that chopper, right trailing behind the car, seeing those things set off, it was indescribable. Just seeing that car kind of go. I mean, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous.
Coming up next,
Pop Rocks and soda, myth or recipe for disaster.
I'm Jamie Heineman. You're watching MythBusters. I hope you cut that out.
So do you remember Pop Rocks?
Yeah, they were invented in 1956, the year of my birth.
Really?
Yes.
The legend we're approaching now is the legend that little Mikey from the Life Cereals commercial.
I remember it so clearly. The kid goes, "Let's get Mikey to try it. He won't eat it. He hates everything."
Whatever Mikey could eat, everyone could eat. That was the idea.
Anyways, Mikey at one point becomes a teenager.
He ate 6 cans of soda and 6 pouches of Pop Rocks.
And this has some kind of chemical reaction in his stomach.
And exploded, and he died.
So the myth is that, you know, that a combination of 6 packs of Pop Rocks and a 6-pack of soda is a lethal combination of gases that will make your stomach explode. We'd like to determine a couple of things. We want to see how much pressure is generated by a rapid infusion of 6 packs of Pop Rocks and soda. We'd like to determine how much pressure a stomach can withstand. I've been thinking about this, and I think to imitate a stomach, the pressures of a stomach, that the best course is to use a pig's stomach, which is actually physically very close to a human stomach, which can hold about between 1 and 2 pints, generally, of liquid. I'm trying to locate a pig's stomach. A pig's stomach. Should we continue further? Is this about the size of a human stomach?
I really could say.
How large is it? I mean, it's deflated, right?
Like a swimming cap.
What?
Like a swimming cap.
Like a swimming cap. A very, very meaty swimming cap.
Originally, the idea was to create an instant carbonated soda by General Foods.
Can I try some?
Yeah, absolutely.
They discovered actually that when you ate those nuggets, there was like a sizzling or popping sensation in your mouth.
I'll tell you, it's been 25 years, but I know exactly what this is going to feel like. Have you had them before?
Long time ago, yeah.
All right.
And in 1975, they decided to launch Pop Rocks, as we all know Pop Rocks.
It's kind of gross.
The difference between normal candy or normal standard hard candy and Pop Rocks is that when the candy actually is still like melted, you put carbon dioxide under certain conditions of pressures that I believe is 600 psi.
This isn't getting us any closer to that pig stomach.
Does it have like the esophagus and the intestines attached at all?
No. Just the stomach.
I need all the tubes attached to it. Would it be possible to get it with as much of the attachments to it as possible?
No.
It turns out that the Food and Drug Administration have listed the esophagus and bowel as hazardous substances.
58025 south.
It looks like that says 580 is going. Well, I think we should just get a real pig and feed him. It'd be kind of fun to watch see what a pig does when you feed him a bunch of it.
See, again, there goes your lack of political understanding. You can raise so much hell with that.
It's better to kill the pig first and then give it to him?
Absolutely. People are much more comfortable with that arrangement. All right, here we are. 4 stomachs. Terrific. That's them. The specific instructions on the thing, complete with esophagus and intestines. It's actually becoming a reality.
That's one important mission accomplished.
Yummy. That looks like right out of Aliens, doesn't it? Looks like I can feel. All right, yeah, I've got my finger all the way down in there. So that's I don't know which one's the intake and which one's the output.
The worst part is the breath coming out of here. Soda.
It's interesting that the valves on this thing actually work. That's like it's holding its pressure. We just put air in there and walked away.
And how do you think we'll get the Pop Rocks and the soda actually into the stomach?
To get these in there, we have to get them wet, unless we're gonna. I mean, they're not gonna pour. They're gonna stick along the side. They're gonna immediately clog the hole. You know, I had an idea.
Yeah.
What if we got a hold of some tea bag type stuff and kind of wad them up in little packets and drop them down in there? It's too big. Well, the packet's not going to work. It's too bulky, and so that's that.
I think we want to equate a worst case scenario here. You know, like the Pop Rocks are going in one bunch along with the soda, I guess as rapidly as you could do it. I mean, as rapidly as someone might drink it.
Big syringe then.
A big syringe?
The myth appeared, I believe, was in 1979, 4 years after the candy was launched, and actually has devastating consequences for the brand name. Sales dropped down to almost nil.
Okay, so one of the things we have to figure out is how are we going to hang this thing?
What about mounting it in our skeleton over there?
Sure.
There's plenty of tie points in the rib cage.
Yeah, and it'll, you know, we'll get to see, you know, fluid dribbling out out of the skeleton, and you wanted the dramatic effect, that'll do it.
Yeah, and of course, actually, the inlet tube will have to come up and out through the mouth of the skeleton.
Yeah.
And you know where the outlet tube is going?
No. Where is the outlet tube going?
Oh, don't make me say it. By the time we're done, he'll be playing the piano just like old times.
What the company tried to do to address that problem was basically they ran around 45 advertisements, big full-page advertisements in magazine, and they wrote about 50,000 letters to different high school headmasters and school headmasters explaining that there was no problem.
Frequently, legends are believed, and what happens is something called ostension. Ostension means that a legend is believed to the point that you change your behavior. Once a belief is out there, it's pretty difficult. You have to take some gargantuan steps to disprove it.
We've got to mix up one last ingredient before the experiment can begin.
I'd say it's about a pH of 2.
Okay. So that's the equivalent of one stomach's contents of hydrochloric acid,
That's
yes?
1.7 pounds of water.
Okay.
Gastric juice is secreted, actually, we believe, as a protective mechanism. It's not designed to aid in digestion. It's designed, the hydrochloric acid along with pepsin is designed to kill things. So it's kind of protection over when we were back there fighting the hyenas for the bones.
It might not aid in digestion, but we think a quart of hydrochloric acid will be critical to busting this myth.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Your gloves.
Now, the fun begins.
Once you're pouring the liquid, I'll be opening cans of soda, handing them off to you.
Okay. We're clamped everywhere. All right.
Oh, man. All right, Mike, he's had 2 cans. He's out of control. Oh, my God, he's going for another one. Mikey. All right, Mikey, man, you can't drink those last 2 cans of soda. Dude, you are an animal. Dude, your stomach's gonna burst. All right, here comes the plunger.
Slow down. You didn't drink it that fast. Listen to that. You can hear those Pop Rocks going for it. Well, that's pretty impressive.
Oh, there goes a burp. Mikey's burping. Come on. Oh, man.
Look how big that stomach's getting.
All right.
It's more or less got it.
All right. Wow. Okay, I wouldn't have called that he could drink all that soda and Pop Rocks at once.
That's huge. That's like 3 times the size of what it was.
We're not reading any real pressure in here.
By its nature, the human stomach is a capacitance organ. That means it's designed to stretch. Receptive relaxation is the concept in human physiology, so it will relax and stretch up to some limit.
So my guess is Mikey's feeling a little ill right about now.
I know I would be.
Do you think we should give him some time to digest?
Sure, why not?
You got 2 built-in vents, one on either side of the stomach, that should be the places that this air goes if you reach those kinds of pressures.
Even with time for digestion, the Pop Rocks and soda just don't produce enough gas.
We put 6 cans, about another, almost a liter of acid, 6 doses of Pop Rocks.
I can still hear it, can't you?
You can still hear it crackling.
Yeah, Pop Rocks are going.
So, does this myth contain any elements of truth?
The human stomach clearly can rupture. There's no question about that. You can get rupture in blunt trauma, automobile accidents, for instance.
It's starting to get kind of special in here. from a olfactory standpoint.
After a quick reset, we're going to try and see if we can make our pig's stomach explode.
Who the hell could be calling me? I can't answer that. I'm tying a pig's stomach into a skeleton. Clamp.
My name is Fernando Arguis, Vice President General Manager of Pop Rocks Incorporated, and you're watching MythBusters.
Now, it turns out that in the annals of medicine in the last century, there are a half dozen cases of people's stomachs exploding from an excess of CO2, usually from something like baking soda. We're going to see how the bicarbonate of soda compares to Pop Rocks in terms of the expansion of the stomach. Oh, right. 1. Let's do 3.
That's an awful lot of sodium bicarb.
Well, you know, I've taken 2 with heartburn. Let's say someone feels
Unlike
really bad.
Pop Rocks, the baking soda and acid react.
Injecting acid. All right.
The result is carbon dioxide gas. Lots of it.
Okay, 1 down. Yummy, and good for you. The single most popular food item in the United States. 3 cans down. 4. Come on, you gotta drink a little faster, piggy. 5. 6. We've fully drunk the soda. Bicarbonate.
You ready?
Ready. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. He's still drinking.
That's getting really big.
He can't hold it anymore. Clamp it.
See what the pressure is rating.
Whoa. Okay, that's much bigger than before. It's still hardly reading. It's reading about half a PSI.
There are probably lots of folks out there who have for years and years and years been using baking soda. And in the amounts that would be prescribed to reduce acid, there's very, very little gas formed. It usually stays in solution, comes out, doesn't cause very much by way of distension if you stay within the limits that are recommended.
Here on MythBusters, we're never afraid to push the limits.
1 second. Okay, ready?
Ready. Oh, I feel the pressure.
If you have a stomach that's greatly distended by a large meal, and then you add on top of that either gas in the form of sodium bicarbonate to try and relieve acid indigestion, you can, in those very, very unusual situations, see gastric rupture. But no one should have the impression that this is common by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay.
Whoa! Wow.
Well, that did cause a reaction.
That turned out to be a little too much. Yeah, that's what we call a hell of a Saturday night. Oh my gosh. Totally blue. With the addition of a little more stomach acid and the bicarbonate of soda, what was that, 2 tablespoons?
Yeah.
Just ripped a hole right in the back. I felt the pressure as I was plunging it. You know, wanted to push the plunger back out again.
Yeah.
And then that final bit, I don't know if we were watching what the meter said, but it might have spiked.
Yeah.
I mean, in a body, something like 2 or 3 PSI is a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a human consuming that much crap. Well, maybe I can, actually.
Well, the sodium bicarb with the person's own stomach seems to me to be the main thing.
Yeah.
Somebody that's just taking, you know, eating candy or something, I don't see it happening.
MythBusters tried to contact John Gilchrist, the actor who played Little Mikey. He never returned our calls.
Another one bites the dust.
on this episode of MythBusters.
I just had one of those, what the hell are we doing moments.
It's Buster versus gravity as we put his new body to the test. Jamie and Adam come to the aid of thirsty partygoers
Oh, it feels nice and frosty.
as they search for the fastest way to cool a six-pack. And the build team puts bodies on the line in search of ancient electricity. Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage.
I reject your reality and substitute my own.
And Jamie Heineman.
I kind of like it in here. It's private.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
That was intense.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. It's a nightmare on Easy Street. Tailgate party, thirsty people, warm beer.
62 degrees.
What is the fastest way to cool a six-pack?
Well, looks like we have another alcohol-related myth, Jamie.
Does this mean we have to get drunk in the morning again?
I don't think we have to, but you know, maybe we can. This myth actually came to us off the Discovery website. A fan wrote in saying he had heard that in Vietnam, when they were out in the field and had a warm six-pack that they needed to cool down, they would bury it in the sand, pour a quart of gasoline over it, set the gasoline on fire, and somehow the six-pack, when they dug it up, would be nice and cold.
Well, it sounds like a fun one for us to test.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's nothing more patriotic than gasoline and beer.
Chilling beer. Clearly, the MythBusters will have to research this one thoroughly. What they need is a field trip.
Jamie, I've got the perfect place for us to experiment with beer, right here, Connecticut Yankee.
They have beer here?
They have lots of beer.
Inside, the MythBusters Beer Oracle. His name is Fritzy.
So Fritz, have you heard the myth about being able to chill a six-pack of beer by pouring gasoline over the top of beer that's buried in sand?
And setting it on fire.
No.
You haven't heard that one, huh?
No.
What do you think? Would it work?
No.
Well, Fritz, what's the ideal temperature for a beer?
38 degrees probably.
38?
I'm thinking, yeah.
Okay.
38 golden degrees. Jamie and Adam could spend hours soaking in Fritzy's wisdom. Instead, they'll attempt to cool a six-pack to 38 degrees by setting it on fire.
We've got our sample beach here, and we've got our sample six-pack. We're going to crack a beer open, see what its temperature is. Then we're going to put it in the sand, pour a quart of gas over it, set it on fire. Immediately after the fire goes out, we're going to pull out a beer, measure the temperature again, and see if there was any drop in the temperature.
The theory is that in the same way evaporating water sucks heat out of its surroundings, the burning gas will suck lots of heat out of the beer.
It's 65.4 degrees. We want to bring it down to somewhere around 40 degrees or slightly under that. All right, standing by the gasoline.
Or is it right here?
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put more than a quart in there. Okay.
All right, light it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, that's spectacular. This thermometer we have under here is actually measuring the temperature of the sand about where the beer is. It's now at 66 degrees. It's gone down about a quarter of a degree since the fire started.
But maybe through some mysterious thermal exchange, the beer has become icy cold.
68 degrees, so it has warmed it up.
Or maybe not.
So this technique yielded a warm, gasoline-soaked, sandy beer. This is pretty much the very last thing I want to bring near my lips at the beach.
So the gas fire-cooled six-pack myth is busted. But maybe there's a better way.
I bet there's some really nifty ways of chilling down a beer really quickly.
I would have to agree, but I think we should start by getting a really good benchmark as to how long it takes a normal six-pack to cool down, like in a refrigerator, in a freezer, in a cooler. So why don't we do a bunch of trials on a six-pack and see what the standard cooling times are.
So in hot pursuit of the fastest way to chill a six-pack, the MythBusters will compare several methods. The fridge and freezer, of course, and some more party-friendly options. Coolers with ice, ice and water, and ice, water, and salt.
Let me see if I can tell the difference between these two.
Adding salt melts ice and lowers the water's freezing point.
Yeah, I gotta say this one is more painful.
So you get much colder water.
Wow, the difference is really clear. The ice and water is 33 degrees. The ice, water, and salt is 24 degrees.
Well, I'll be darned. Chemistry at work.
Let's see what a baseline room temperature of beer is. What do you know? It's the temperature of the room. 62 degrees. That's exactly what we've got there.
They'll time when each method reaches drinking temperature of between 37 and 40 degrees, checking the beer's temperature every 5 minutes, in much the same way a thirsty partygoer might.
38 seconds. Okay. Waiting another 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Which gives them just enough time to try a less conventional method.
I can't see a damn thing. Hold on.
This kind of fire extinguisher is full of liquid carbon dioxide under pressure. When it's released, it expands into a gas, cooling the air around it and forming ice.
All right, so it's been about 2-3 minutes here. Let's see how much it cooled this beer down. Oh, it feels nice and frosty.
$37.
37 degrees is actually a nearly ideal beer temperature.
If you do have one and you're willing to spend maybe, $30 on having your beer cooled now, then I guess you could do that, and it's fairly effective.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So 3 minutes to drinking temperature, fire extinguisher assistant. How are the other tests doing after 5 minutes?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Popping out a beer.
Wow.
What?
Salt water, 35.9 degrees.
Wow! Salt water's done.
Yeah.
30, wait.
The regular ice water, 44 degrees.
Okay.
And regular ice, 57 degrees.
4. How much? Cooler with ice, 57?
Yeah.
The freezer and fridge are at 55 and 60 degrees. So, partygoers, if you've only got 5 minutes, salt water and ice is the answer.
So the ice and water and salt is done. We're done with that. We've reached the target temperature and a little bit more.
Science plus beer equals good.
As for the rest, the cooler with ice and water was next best at 15 minutes. Then the freezer at 25. Just ice took half an hour. And if the fridge is your only hope, maybe invite the gang back tomorrow.
Well, we got some not so impressive and some impressive times to cool down a six-pack. But the CO2 fire extinguisher beat everything hands down at 3 minutes.
Well, so are we going to be able to improve on these with our own little inventions?
Well, that's our challenge. Can we build a device that can cool a six-pack down in less than 3 minutes?
Well, looks like it's back to the machine shop.
Time to get to work.
The MythBusters build team is on the trail of a mystery. A strange battery-like jar that dates back 2,000 years. Could it be true? Was there ancient electricity?
Wait a minute, we have...
Fried our...
This myth hinges on a single credible, seemingly credible piece of archaeological evidence.
In the 1930s, an urn was found in Baghdad, and it dated to somewhere between 250 BC to 250 AD. And what they found in this urn was a copper pipe, an iron rod in the center. It had a cork made of asphalt at the top, and residue of an acidic liquid on the inside. So all of these things point to this being an ancient battery.
Is this a 2,000-year-old battery? Supposedly batteries were only invented 200 years ago. It's an urn containing an iron rod inside a copper pipe, suspended in acid. To test this story, the build team will make their own, and if it works, try to find out what it might have been used for. First stop, the pots.
Scott, have you ever tried to throw a pot before?
At a person or like on a wheel?
Obviously, you're a pottery expert.
I'd rather throw china, it's sharper.
John Delwa cheerfully admits he doesn't know a darn thing about ancient batteries, but pots.
My guess would be that they're using terracotta, which is just pretty much what they dig up out of the ground.
So, Terracotta Pottery 101 is in.
I think I'm gonna end up sweaty, messy with a really nice ashtray for my mom.
Under John's guiding hand, they'll make pots 6 inches high with a 1.5-inch hole in the top.
Straight across the bottom.
And yes, for the record, he does get asked about that movie Ghost all the time, so don't.
I think this is a fun myth to do. I mean, we're using history, we're putting a little science to it.
In the end, 10 terracotta pots get made.
Look at my pot!
Now, to turn them into batteries. Remember, there was an iron bar and a copper tube inside the pots. And that matters because different metals have different electrical properties.
First, we have 2 different kinds of metals here. Zinc, and this would be copper. And they work as electrodes, and the lemon works as an electrolyte. So, let's use our little voltmeter and see if we can get some sort of charge out of this lemon.
This is a classic school science experiment. The acidic lemon juice is stripping electrons off the copper, and they're flowing to the zinc, creating an electric current.
It looks like we're getting almost a volt out of just this lemon. The problem is, Baghdad Battery said that they used iron and copper, so I'm gonna see if you can possibly get a charge with these 2 metals. Well, it's substantially less. You get about 1/3 of the volts you can get with zinc as you can get with iron.
So the iron-powered battery makes a lemon look good. The results are similar with other possible ancient acids like grape juice and vinegar.
From the grape juice, we are getting 0.89.
But ever the optimists, the build team goes into mass construction mode.
That is beautiful. Lemon juice stings when it gets in your eye. That's a nice, tight fit. Now I'm gonna test the voltage. 0.269. That's not a lot. The lemon gave us more than that.
1/3 of a volt. A shocker by any definition.
Oh, wait, yeah, there was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, how do you think they would get this idea? Okay, I'm gonna take this clay pot, I'm gonna stick an iron rod in the center, and then I'm gonna make a plug of pitch and put a copper tube around the outside and get it to do absolutely nothing.
Perhaps they'll do better by wiring all 10 of their new batteries together.
All right, here comes the moment of truth. Wait a minute, we have...
fried our...
Hey! Holy, we have 4.3 volts! Oh, yeah!
We did it.
A picture of efficiency this ain't. As big as a rack of bowling balls, as powerful as a half-dead flashlight. But it is a battery, an ancient battery. And now the question needs to be answered, what was it used for? The MythBusters are turning their collective brain power to the needs of the party-going public. Can they make a machine to chill a six-pack in under 3 minutes? Adam's idea is a kind of chilling funnel, a copper tube coiling through dry ice.
You pour the beer in here, we'll have a funnel here, and it'll go through the coil and come out here, hopefully, the perfect temperature.
Jamie, meanwhile, is taking a different approach. By heating up a metal sheet,
it's much softer.
He's able to bend it around into a tight coil.
It's not real neat, but there's a lot of surface area in there, and so what I'm intending to do is first dip this into liquid nitrogen and then into the beer.
It's called a heat sink. The supercooled metal will be dipped into the beer, drawing out the heat, and hopefully leaving it perfectly chilled.
Look at that.
You didn't shake these up, did you?
No,
okay,
I
good.
promise.
Thank you.
Didn't. No, I swear. Now I know you won't believe me. I had to goof the camera. That's cool. How did you do that? I know you don't necessarily appreciate the competition thing, but I have to say, it's never not entertaining to me to see how different the solutions you and I can come up with are. I mean, it's always really fascinating.
What will be fascinating is seeing if either of these ideas actually work.
The sound of metal. It's the sound metal makes against dry ice. I've got a room temperature beer. I've got an empty glass, which I'm gonna put under here. And I gotta attach my funnel. Timing now.
So warm beer goes in here and should come out cold here.
Interesting. Come on, come on. All right, well, I see that the first problem I have is actually I got the beer too cold. My coil is so cold, I can tell that it's probably freezing the beer on its way down, which is why it doesn't just immediately start pouring out. Now that is one cold beer. It's at 32 degrees. I mean, it's ice, ice, cold, baby.
Well, I've finished my beer chiller, even put a handle on it so I won't chill my hands. And the idea is that this will get dipped into either liquid nitrogen or some other substance that will cool it down, then I'll dip this in a beer.
Liquid nitrogen, the bartender's friend. Its temperature is a brisk minus 320 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Whoa! Everything's creaking. Bummer. It only took it down a few degrees. I think most of the beer ended up right there. I guess I gotta leave it in there for a little while longer.
It seems as bartenders, Jamie and Adam make very good MythBusters. They've both got work to do before the final chill-off.
All right, let's try this again.
The build team has made its ancient batteries. They're weak, but the challenge now is to find out what they might have been used for.
Well, through our research, we've actually come up with 3 different possibilities of what this electricity could have been used for. One of them is electroplating.
Well, good work.
Well, the next one is pain relief through acupuncture needles. And the third is experiencing God.
Well, that one sounds the most likely to me. I mean, you've got this weird stuff that's, look what happens, you know, it can give you a shock. They're not going to understand where it's from, and so put it to some religious use.
Clearly, there was some serious head-scratching going on in the research department, but so be it. The build team will test the ancient battery's potential for electroplating, pain relief, and divine intervention. First, electroplating. It uses an electric current to coat a metal object with another metal by drawing particles out of a salt solution. In this case, coating copper with zinc. Some of the ancient batteries will provide the charge.
You can see the little bubbles forming. I'm pretty sure that means it's working.
They'll leave the electroplating overnight and use the time to check out the second possibility, pain relief.
Do you feel hurts?
And the needle?
Uh-huh.
That wasn't too bad.
Therapeutic acupuncture has been around for more than 2,000 years. For the last 50 years or so, a low-voltage, pulsing electrical current has been added to help relieve pain.
Oh, something. I feel my chi moving.
Yeah.
My chi is moving.
So, used correctly, electricity does seem to offer pain relief. But what about the ancient batteries? Are they even safe?
But I gotta worry something.
You
I
worry?
never tried this kind of battery. Looks big. I would rather you put on my arm first.
All right.
Yeah?
The inside. Put it harder.
So, having put himself on the line with no ill effects, Dr. Han agrees to jumpstart Scotty.
Did you feel it?
Yeah, I do feel it, totally.
What do you feel?
It's kind of like the other one, but it's more random. It's like
Wow.
The top one's kind of burning.
Maybe we should take it off.
Ow, take the top one off. Maybe it's the tape.
This
No,
one?
yes, take it off. Ow! The top one started heating up, like started feeling like a needle being poked in further and further.
There was no harm done, but what did they learn?
I could see maybe using it as a torture device.
I think that it's possible that this is what they were using that battery for. I know that maybe it may not be used in this manner, but I really do think that people did use shock in muscles to stimulate them.
Adam and Jamie are facing the beer challenge. Build a machine to cool a six-pack to below 40 degrees in less than 3 minutes. Adam's coiled a copper pipe through dry ice. Warm beer in the top, hopefully cold brew out the bottom.
Come on, come on.
Jamie's made a heat sink, a spiral metal plate which he'll dip in liquid nitrogen before dunking in the beer. For the final test, they've returned to the bar, where beer oracle Fritzy will be judge. Adam will go first.
All right, so I found the dry ice just made the coil too cold, so I'm actually going to add real ice. And add some real ice around the coil and some salt.
This thing's going to leak all over the bar, and it already is. 3, 2, 1, go.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I have to go to the bathroom. All right, there we go. Testing the temperature.
It's still flowing.
Oh, man. My ice only got it to 46 degrees.
That won't cut it.
I drink it, but it's not real cold.
Adam's cooler has failed the Fritzy test. Well over a minute for one can, and the beer was 10 degrees too warm. Now it's Jamie's turn.
You ready for the liquid nitrogen?
Yes, I am. If you'll grab one side, I'll do the tip.
I like that rig, but it's kind of spooky. Let's see what it does to a beer.
In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, yeah! Jamie, you didn't tell us about that part.
I just did.
It's not quite that bad. That's shocking. 17 seconds, 20 seconds. Did you just freeze the whole beer?
Well, the last time I lowered it in a little bit more gingerly. This time it foamed it up quite a bit.
That's amazing.
So you're ending up with a perfectly cooled 1/3 of a beer. There you go.
I don't think it quite got it.
I don't think you quite got it. Looks like you're at around 43 degrees at 1:15. Why don't you let Fritzy try this?
Well, Fritzy, are you ready to try my super chilled beer?
I can't wait. There's chunks of ice in it. Good gosh. Big stick, no love. It's not real warm. I mean, it's not real cold. Colder than that one, though.
Much as I don't mind having an excuse to have a beer in the morning, I'm actually a little disappointed with us in this one. This is one of the very first times we've actually failed at building a device that performed up to our expectations.
Yeah, well, we did come up with the CO2 fire extinguisher approach, and that worked better than anything by far.
I'll give us that, but for the record, burying a six-pack, pouring gasoline on it, and setting it on fire?
Yep, totally busted. It's a bad idea, it's dangerous, it pollutes. Not the way to chill your beer.
The MythBusters are fulfilling a promise. They made it to Cadillac Bend way back when he donated Earl the caddy to the show.
You saw us on TV and you figured, I'll take it to them, they'll blow it up.
I was hoping, yeah.
We will do our best.
They tried by shooting Earl's gas tank. No luck. And now Jamie has a hankering.
Well, I've destroyed a few cars in my day, but I have never dropped one from the top of a very tall crane.
So Jamie's got an itch, but there's a hitch. They want Buster along for the ride. And frankly, he's not up to the challenge. Before Earl gets dropped, the MythBusters have a mission.
I think it's time we rebuild him from the ground up.
Well, you know, I wouldn't have necessarily thought it was possible when we started the season with him, but after having gone inside his mechanics so many times to rebuild them, I feel like we could build him a completely new skeleton and completely new body.
Crash test dummies are designed for impacts up to 80 Gs. Buster's taken 5 times that. Buster 2.0 will be tougher and easier to repair. There was a sneak preview in the Buster special, but now the nuts and bolts of his rebuild. First, the skeleton. His new joints are shaped out of cast aluminum, and the bones between are poplar wood. Turns out that breaks at a similar pressure to human bones, so when Earl hits the deck, they'll know what really would have broken in a person.
Hey, Jamie.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Well,
that's not bad for 2 days' work.
Yeah, and it's actually quite beautiful, I think. The key things that make this Buster better are that he's constructed almost entirely out of blocks of aluminum that are really quite massive, and so they're going to be very strong. They'll take a good impact without breaking or jamming. All of the components are loose-fitting, again, so that on impact or anything like that, that they won't jam. And then lastly, it's all made so that anything that does get broken or messed up, we can get to it really quickly and easily, make another part without any, fussing. Well, what's next?
Well, yeah, I think it's time to figure out what kind of actual flesh body to put on him.
Well, I know of a really tough silicon rubber. It's called dragon skin. And so when it comes to silicon rubber, I'm your guy. I think we can take care of that pretty easily.
We only have a couple of days, so I'm thinking actually foam carvings, vacuum form molds, knock them all out in one big pour. It's a lot of silicone, but I think we can do it.
So to put meat on Buster's new bones, first Adam will make foam carvings of each body part. They'll use those to make plastic molds and fill them with silicon rubber. Years of model making means hand carving an entire human body, no problem.
Well, I am actually making some of the first foam body parts for our new Buster, which will then be molded and cast in rubber. So this is actually new Buster's calf.
So far, so good. But new Buster's belly has them chewing the fat.
Didn't Buster have a little bit more definition than that? He looks a little kind of blobby.
I'm giving him a little more definition now. You know, I just thought if he had some love handles, it wouldn't be so bad.
I mean, you're trying to make him look like you.
Yeah. Why not? I can make him in my own image. Now I'm going off the Jamie model. The Greek god.
A Greek god? There's a form worth preserving in plastic.
Yeah, what's going to happen here is we're going to melt this plastic right above my head. We're going to heat it up until it's really flippy-floppy, like a piece of cloth. Then we are going to lower it down over these forms, turn on a vacuum under this table. It's called vacuum forming. And the plastic will cool down and take the shape of these forms, which will then become our molds. Look at that!
Adam quite likes this part.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. Nice. Mold making's done.
Now, enter the dragon skin.
Looks like we're making crash test dummy custard. Are we making the world's largest Jell-O dummy here?
No, this is a mix of polyorganosiloxanes and amorphous silica.
That doesn't sound very appetizing.
No, it'd be a little tough and chewy, I think.
This stuff is tough. When it sets, it'll be able to withstand almost any impact and won't burn, even under a blowtorch. Buster will be one tough pink ombre.
I don't like the pink. It's a little creepy.
Yeah, it's a little creepy, but so is what we do to Buster.
Maybe he'll get a suntan after a while.
So this is the last bit of rubber going into new Buster's chest right now. And we should be pulling him out of his molds later on today, if we're lucky.
Back at the ancient battery testing, Carrie's electroplating has been cooking all night.
Look at this.
Wow! Look at that. It worked.
I can't believe this. Baghdad batteries completely electroplated our medallion.
That is cool.
Well, this actually proves something for us right here. By the fact that we could electroplate with the Baghdad batteries means that's a possible use. That's a possible reason for why these batteries might exist.
Yeah, cool.
If Tori seems underwhelmed by this resounding success, well, he's got a lot on his mind.
Oh, look at that.
Remember, the third possible application the research team came up with for the batteries was for invoking a religious experience. It's quite a big job.
Exodus 25:10. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, and a cubit and a half the height thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth. Okay, well, I guess I got some stuff to work on.
Using instruction from the good book itself, Tori is building the biblical Ark of the Covenant.
What are you making? Oh, I'm building the Ark of the Covenant. Well, a replica. Because it's not the real thing, you know.
But the fun hasn't even started yet. On top will be two golden angels, which are Carrie's domain.
Jamie and Adam, aren't they little angels?
The Ark is painted gold, the angels covered in gold leaf. They plan to connect the batteries and shock an unsuspecting victim. But it takes 100 volts to produce a noticeable zap. They just don't have enough juice.
All right, so basically, those Baghdad batteries aren't going to give us the voltage that we need to shock Adam. So what I am going to do is I'm going to hook up the red snapper. It's the cattle prodding, the cattle electrified fence device. We used this, earlier. I'm gonna hook this up to the Angels, and hopefully this will give us a shock that we need.
They used this same gadget for the third rail revisit.
Oh, there we go. I got a shot. It was nothing. It was nothing.
It seemed harmless enough then.
Okay, let me try it.
We want a really
Let
decent
me,
shock. We want Adam's hair to stand up on it.
But his hair is so short.
Oh.
We can't do that to Adam.
Somehow, back then, Adam must have avoided the full jolt. It's high voltage, but low amps, so it's not fatal, but it hurts.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what was the electrocution pain on that one?
I would say 211.
Seriously, it hurt that bad?
Do it.
Oh
my God! Holy! I feel like I just got punched in the chest.
There is no way we're doing this to Adam. That was unbelievable.
The final test is a dilemma. The ancient batteries are too weak to invoke a religious experience. But in good conscience, can they use the painful fence shocker on an unsuspecting Adam?
I'm gonna leave it up to you. I say we leave it, this decision is entirely in Carrie's hands.
Buster's getting his new body ahead of being dropped 60 feet in Earl the Caddy. Buster 2.0 will be like a rubbery, pink Frankenstein's monster.
Great. Coming out really good.
Oh, I think it's going to fly.
You know, it's also good and bouncy.
I got to say, it looks a lot more flesh-like than what was in the original dummy because that was foam-filled. This has got mass to it. You know, it's like...
This is Buster's new back. The old Buster had most of his weight in his frame. We've put a good portion of his weight back into his flesh. So this is a good probably 12 or 13 pounds of rubber here. And that's gonna sit right on there like that.
For easy removal and repair, each body part is molded in 2 halves. They're glued together on one side like a clamp, then secured around the limb with plastic ties.
He's a little meatier than he was before. But I think this seam system is actually working out quite nicely.
Got good mobility.
He does. It's very realistic.
Appendectomy.
I still feel really bad that we haven't had time to fix his face.
You still don't get it, do you?
Get what?
He's Buster. This is the throughput from old Buster to new Buster.
Yeah, this is all we're going to see. We just put all this work into this thing, and you'll never know it. And all you will know is that he looks like some kind of a burn victim.
They will know because they're filming it right now.
Well, I thought it would be nice to have the real face on it.
Yeah, but
We are going to replace this.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
Well, it looks like crap. If that's what makes you happy, then I don't care.
Lived in face and all, Buster 2.0 is done. He's more durable, more repairable. And like a conventional crash test dummy, his height and weight are representative of 95% of American men.
He's got really big biceps. Yeah, I'm actually pretty pleased with Buster. I know Jamie always seems to look for the worst in everything. You know, oh, it's a little chesty and it's a little pink and, well, his face is all burnt.
I'm actually pretty proud of what we did with this. I mean, the human body is a difficult thing to replicate.
4.5 days to get this guy out of the molds, out of the machine shop and assembled. I'm pretty impressed.
I defy anybody to point at anything that we did say that was, a waste of time or overcomplicated. It's all, Buster is all business.
I think he's a really good, viable MythBusters dummy.
The final test for the ancient battery is a little left field. 2,000 years ago, in a society where electricity was apparently unknown, could an electric shock inspire religious awe?
That'll do it.
The build team made a replica arc and wired it to deliver a shock. Adam knows that.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Is it godlike?
That is magnificent.
What he doesn't know is they might have replaced the ancient batteries with an electric fence transformer.
Incredible.
Which would be the dirtiest trick in myth-busting history.
What do I do?
You approach with disbelief. Hold your hands up to the idols. Look very deeply into God's eyes and grab on.
Now, you guys haven't hooked in the electric fence thing in here, have you?
Oh, that would have been a good idea.
All right.
You should be on our team.
I'm reasonably convinced you haven't. Is it ready to go?
Well,
Go ahead. Okay. Did I just grab anywhere?
I guess.
I don't know. I mean, it like doesn't.
Oh!
Do you feel God?
You did hook up the real thing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Messing with electricity is dangerous at the best of times. And that shock hurts.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
Bigger
than
you expected. Did you get the kick in the chest?
Yeah, and the head and the entire body. That was 10,000 volts through my heart.
The build team has shown the ancient batteries do create a charge that can electroplate and potentially be used for pain relief. But promoting a fear of God by using the electric fence transformer, they really only produced a fear of Adam.
Did that feel like God to you? I don't think so.
If you were able to get any kind of tingle out of touching this thing, that it would have had very, very powerful ramifications. Everything that we can't explain is God. Amazing. To me, it sounds like everything you guys have tested is plausible, plausible, plausible.
We're really, 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 really sorry.
It's Earl's big moment, and Buster 2.0 will share it.
Yeah. It's the coming out party for Buster.
They're both about to get a raise.
And Buster's going to take a little ride. Unfortunately for Buster, it's going to be straight down at about maybe 40 or 50 miles an hour from the top of a crane.
You see, the MythBusters are fulfilling a promise to Cadillac Ben to destroy Earl. And Ben's come along to witness the show.
So when you donated us this car, is this the kind of destruction that you were dreaming of?
I really had no idea what you guys are going to do. Maybe something with explosives, but this is definitely satisfactory. I think it's going to be good.
Good in a bad way. But before anything gets dropped, Earl needs a few modifications.
What are you doing, Scotty?
I think it's broken.
The gas has already been drained, and anything loose has been taken out.
Don't mind me.
They'll use a chain to connect Earl to the crane.
Gold chains, matte black Cadillac.
Bling, bling.
That chain has to be passed through the back seat. But wouldn't you know it, the windows won't wind down. What to do?
What do you got, Scotty?
Well, I have ceramic from a spark plug, and what I've heard is that if you take a piece of broken ceramic and pelt it at a car window, it'll shatter.
Really?
Like magic.
I've heard that. Seems unlikely, though, doesn't it?
Seems unlikely, but I don't know. Let's find out.
Watch your eyes.
Oh, now you think it's gonna work?
No,
Yep, that was on the paint. Not breaking the window.
Scotty, I don't think you're here.
It's busted.
Oh, there you go.
That's how to do it.
All right. All right.
I didn't think that was going to work. That's fantastic.
That would be a myth confirmed.
Do not try this at home.
So they've cleared the way for the chain. Now, Adam has plans for the other end.
This is actually a 10,000-pound quick release. This is what the car will be hanging from. And when we pull the safety pin and release this, the car drops. So I'm just setting up the rigging so that we can do that drop easily and safely.
Goodbye, Guy. We'll see you. Keep your eyes on the road.
You're on.
Adam, you want to clear out?
This is always the point at which you're like, how's my rigging? How's my rigging? Is everything in place? Lot rides on everything working just the way it should.
Buster and Earl are airborne, but this is tricky and dangerous. That's nearly 2 tons of steel up there, and they need to stop it twisting.
Okay, Carrie, you need to back away here while you're feeding it out.
Okay.
And I'd recommend you go up this way.
Okay.
Okay, stop!
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
This is terrifying.
I just had one of those, what the hell are we doing moments.
Funnily enough, 60 feet up, Buster 2.0 is having one of those too. Will his new body hold up? Cadillac Ben is getting his wish. From this height, Earl's last drive will be like hitting a wall at 55 miles per hour. It's the perfect crash test for new Buster.
Don't let go.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1.
Man, that was cool.
And once again, Earl's last moments.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Oh my God. Oh, look at that. I'm not sure Buster's gonna be so...
I've never seen anything like that. That's flat as a pancake on the front of the car.
Earl is clearly no more. But how did Buster's brand new body cope with the ultimate crash test?
You can see Buster from this side. He looks really uncomfortable.
Yeah, his head's kind of at an angle.
On the high-speed, bottom of frame, you can see he lost an arm on impact.
Oh, man. Yeah, he lost an arm completely.
There you go.
Getting the rest of Buster out isn't quite so easy.
There we go. Jamie, that's a broken bone right there.
Well,
that worked like a charm.
I guess he'd be lucky if all he broke was his foot in that particular accident, but...
I imagine there might be some head trauma as well.
I think there probably was.
So, everyone's happy. Buster has been completely rebuilt from the ground up and successfully busted again. And Earl, he's just trashed.
So what do you think? Are you satisfied now?
It was way better than expected. I'm extremely satisfied. It's very satisfying.
Well, I think he's passed the car crash test, and he's ready for a lifetime of busting myths.
A whole world of pain.
Another lifetime. How many lives is Buster gonna have anyway?
How many episodes are we gonna do?
On this episode of MythBusters,
Hey, look at that!
Adam and Jamie investigate the science behind the candy and soda sensation that's sweeping the internet. Like chemistry super sleuths, they bust the culprits behind the cola cascade.
No CO2, no foam.
And they can't resist using the gassy geyser for some MythBuster madness.
Cue dramatic music.
Then, envious of the candy and soda success, they go all out to find their very own magic combo of homemade mayhem. And on top of all that, Carrie, Grant, and Tori take on the tall tale that a postage stamp can cause a helicopter to spiral out of control.
Are we nuts?
If we're wrong about this, we're gonna have a really bad day.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage.
I'm making a rocket out of meat.
And Jamie Heineman.
I'm so excited.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
That's what I'm talking about.
Joining them, Carrie Byron.
I'm a piñata.
Grant Imahara.
Don't say anything.
And Tori Belleci.
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. First up, the MythBusters are going to have a blast.
All right, guys, I've got a fun little experiment for you to try out. I was just doing this photo shoot with FHM, and it seems to coincide with an internet phenomena of people taking 2-liter bottles of soda and dropping chewy candies into it for boom, big explosive.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's all over the net. It creates some kind of geyser that comes out the end of the soda bottle, right?
Yeah, and every time I've seen it on the web or on television, they've trot out an expert to tell us why it happens. And all of their explanations are amazingly different. None of them agree with each other.
So we're not going to test whether or not this occurs.
No, we know that it occurs.
Yeah, we're going to have to check out whether these various explanations are correct, though.
And which one is correct, if any.
Okay.
It's a craze that was kicked off by our very own bubbly MythBuster. Add some Mentos to some Diet Coke, and you get a cascade of swell proportions. But it's these guys, the EP Birds from Buckfield, Maine, that up the ante. Using 101 bottles of Diet Coke, 523 Mentos, and the sort of choreography normally only seen in Vegas, they made the ultimate fizzy fountain. But controversy rages as to why this reaction occurs. And where there's controversy, the MythBusters can't help but wade in.
So I guess it's up to us to inject a little science into the proceedings.
You mean like, is it something in the soda or is it something in the candy?
Exactly.
Okay.
But first, you know I have to try this out for myself.
Yes, I do.
And try it out you shall. With a scale marked out on the wall to gauge the height of his maiden flight, Adam is ready for launch.
So apparently all I have to do is that. Whoop, and drop them in. Are you ready? I've never tried this before. Wow! That was like 10 feet.
The 4 Mentos are dropped in, and then, as reliably as Old Faithful, the geyser erupts.
That is cool. I think we're gonna have to try that a whole bunch more times.
It's a ton of fun, but the MythBusters' mission is to find out exactly what's going on inside that bottle.
Hey, look at that!
Well, amid the chaos, it's clear that this foamy fountain has something to do with the cola's fizziness. And to find out more, it's over to our resident fountain of knowledge.
The gas component of this soda is CO2, and we want to know what role it plays in this cascading effect that we see when we drop these candies in. So the one way that I know of to figure this out is to actually remove the gas. We should be able to do that by just agitating the soda until it fills up this balloon. And then once we've removed all of the gas, if we drop the candy in and we don't get any reaction, we'll know that it was because of the gas. Let's see what the candy does now. Not a thing. No CO2, no foam.
So carbonation is the first crucial ingredient on the Cascade checklist. But surely there's more to this Mentos mayhem.
What's up?
Well, we need to determine what else other than CO2 is at play here. So we
If anything.
If anything. So this is plain soda water, and all it's got in it other than water is CO2.
Well, and this is the Diet Cola, and it's got the whole bunch of other stuff. So if these things, if CO2 is the only factor, these two things should spurt the same height.
Yeah.
All right, let's try them out. Ready? 2, 1.
Well, that's pretty clear.
That's pretty clear. The Diet Cola, there's definitely something more going on than just the content of CO2 in the candy. Because the Diet Cola went like 5 or 6 times as high as the soda water.
So CO2 is not the only culprit in the Cola Cascade. The plot thickens.
You know what? I think it's time we concentrate on the soda now.
I agree. And you know, we actually have a couple of questions to answer here. One is whether or not diet soda is actually the best performer. We just have been taking that on faith, but we should test as many sodas as we can get our hands on to really see if that's true. And if it is true, what is it that's in the diet soda that makes it the best?
It's time for a Soda Stream showdown. This bevy of beverages is about to compete in the inaugural Soda Fountain Olympics.
First one up is sugared cola. 3, 2, 1.
With a control of 5 Mentos, regular Coke reaches 1.5 feet. Paltry compared to its diet counterpart.
Oh, that's a nice one, 10 feet.
That was 10 feet. That was nice. Here's soda water. You watching? I call that about 3 inches.
There's a lot of interesting dynamics here that I don't really understand, actually.
No, I don't either. Let's try the diet lemon flavored soda.
So regular soda and diet soda lead to different cascade heights. But with the same amount of gas in each bottle, it's clear that the speed of the reaction is down to the specific ingredients in the Diet Coke. The question now is, what are these ingredients? And now Tori, Carrie, and Grant are going to stamp their authority on another myth.
We're hanging out in a hangar with a helicopter, a bunch of stamps, and the Oakland Police Department. What are we doing here?
Well, we actually just got this myth off our fan site, and what they say is that a simple postage stamp stuck on a rotary blade of a helicopter will unbalance the helicopter and cause it to crash.
So according to our wonderful fans, if you stick a regular postage stamp on the rotors of a helicopter, it can set off the finely balanced blade so much that the result is some airmail carnage.
Sounds like a bunch of fun. We've got our stamps. We've got our helicopter. Let's go for it.
I don't think they're going to let us use their chopper both for insurance and for safety reasons until we can show them that it's not going to hurt their chopper. Yeah. So I think we should probably start with some small-scale testing.
These things aren't cheap.
No.
So before risking cast and cash in this, the team is first going to wreak postal pandemonium on something a little cheaper.
Oh,
I'll take that one and that one.
Yeah,
and that one.
Give us one of everything.
And that one.
Hovering around the $2,000 mark, these remote control helis will be perfect to get this myth off the ground, provided that the team can learn how to fly them.
How hard is it to fly these?
We tell customers that you're guaranteed that you're going to crash.
It's not.
Well, that's a good guarantee.
Okay, great.
Because crashing is guaranteed, they're going to hone their heli skills on this unbreakable trainer, which Paul makes look pretty easy.
Oh, you are nimble with that thing.
But unfortunately, the same can't be said for Grant. This heli's going belly up.
Okay, give me another day and a half. I think I got it.
Despite the hover bother, the team buys the trainer and a remote control version of the Oakland's police helicopter, which, back at M5, Grant has to put together. This police chopper is an exact 1/7 scale model of its full-size counterpart. So to test the stamp myth in miniature, the team also needs some 1/7 scale stamps.
Okay, what we're gonna do right now, we have a scale and we're gonna measure to see how much a postage stamp weighs. Because the whole myth is to see if, you know, the little bit of weight could unbalance a helicopter and cause it to crash.
Our first saboteur.
Yeah, this is the 45-cent stamp.
We've got 0.15 grams.
As well as the weigh-in, Carrie is also shrinking everything right down.
This is about the size of 1/7 of this, so that'll be about the scaled version of the stamp that's going to go on our little helicopter.
So now all they have to do is get the scaled-down chopper airborne. But that ain't going to be easy.
The analogy that I've heard is it's like trying to juggle a plate on top of the end of a stick while, you know, rubbing your tummy. You know, it's that kind of fine balance control that you need to keep one of these things in the air.
But before testing their fine balance control on this, they're going to first practice on the trainer toy. But liftoff, it ain't.
Jeez, this is a little harder than it looks.
This is going to make small-scale experiments extremely hard if we can't even get the helicopter off the ground.
Yeah.
With Tori failing to fly, remote control expert Grant takes the reins.
Look at the stance. I like the stance.
But he's not accruing any flight time either.
Mayday, mayday.
With the model helicopter falling flat, this myth is struggling to even get off the ground. This is the candy and soda sensation that's sweeping the nation. Inboxes across the world are gushing with these amazing choreographed fountains of froth. But Adam and Jamie are on a mission to determine the science behind the sizzle.
Oh, that's a nice one, 10 feet.
They've confirmed Diet Coke is the king of cascades, and now Adam must find exactly which ingredients are at work.
I've got aspartame.
Armed with the constituents of Diet Coke, how's he going to use them?
The soda water is our test bed. It's our basic unit of measurement here. I will be adding each of these ingredients one at a time to individual bottles of this and trying it out with the candy and seeing if I get a more vigorous response than just the soda water alone. If and when I do, I may find out that it's chemical D that provides the most vigorous response, and we can say, oh, there's your culprit.
That's the plan. And first up is A for aspartame, Diet Coke's artificial sweetener. Adam makes up a solution of the sugar substitute, adds it to the soda water, and gets ready to drop in a Mentos.
There we go.
Remember, in their earlier test, soda water plus Mentos equaled 3 inches. So, what will happen with the sweetener added? Sweet. The sweeteners made the cascade 20 times higher.
Now that's interesting. That's a much more vigorous reaction than the soda water alone. Aspartame is doing something to the water.
But what about the other main ingredients? First, the acids. But neither the citric acid nor the phosphoric acid excite any alchemy, or for that matter, Adam.
Total bupkis in terms of reaction.
Then it's the preservative, potassium benzoate.
That in and of itself is a little bit of a reaction. Let's see what happens when I add the candy.
The preservative also enhances the cascade.
It's almost an identical reaction to the aspartame.
Last up is the caffeine.
This is a couple of tablespoons of caffeine in solution, pure powdered caffeine. This is probably enough to kill you. It's scary stuff when you start to increase the concentration. Again, the same kind of reaction. Caffeine, potassium benzoate, and aspartame all had pretty much identical reactions.
So, Adam and Jamie have isolated the key active ingredients in the Diet Coke. Next, they're going to find out what the Mentos bring to the Cascade Carnival. Carrie, Grant, and Tori are investigating a copter calamity. Can posting a postage stamp on the precisely engineered rotor blades do this? The team is starting its myth-busting in miniature, but it's not going well.
Just pretend like the floor's not there.
And with test time approaching on Grant's deluxe model, they need a plan B.
This is a very expensive model, and people generally crash these the first time they fly them, and we actually want to get some good data from it. So we are going to start these tests having this helicopter completely tethered down.
We've securely fastened the helicopter to the table, and the reason is that we want to actually see the blade deflection. We don't want the helicopter actually getting lift and moving all over the place. What we're interested in at this point is looking at how far that postage stamp will deflect the blade and what effect that has.
And to see this, they've put a marked scale behind the chopper, which, when coupled with the high-speed camera, will show them precisely how much wobble there is in the rotors.
Throttle is good. Ready? Go. Okay, so this will be our baseline test, just stock blades, no additional weight. Okay.
Grant cranks the speed up to level 5 and then cues the high-speed camera.
We're at speed, ready to capture.
And sure enough, without any added weight, the heli blades are in perfect balance. They're rotating exactly on the level of the blue line in the background.
We just finished our baseline test. We saw that our blades are totally balanced. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put on a 1/7 scale postage stamp and see what happens.
The stamp, like the model heli, is 1/7 normal size. That's just 0.02 grams. Will it really be enough to cause the chopper to become a dropper?
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
the stamp doesn't look like it's having any effect.
No.
And the high speed agrees. With the stamp, the blades are just as balanced as they were without it. So what does this mean for the myth?
Based on our scale test with a scale postage stamp and the closest thing that we can get in scale to a real helicopter, this myth is looking busted.
It may be looking busted, but the team still want to find out exactly what it takes to turn this heli into jelly. So they're going to up the ante with the weight of 200 stamps.
I don't know if it's just my imagination, but it looks a little wobbly to me.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, it's hard to tell though. I mean, I don't see it going out of control.
No, definitely not.
Not destruction.
There sure ain't any destruction. And in fact, with this view, it's clear there still isn't any rock or roll. Adam and Jamie are trying to figure out the theory behind the chaos when Diet Coke and Mentos meet. Our super sleuths have found the ingredients in the soda that cause the fountain to froth. But what do the Mentos bring to the party? Adam has checked out the mint Mentos ingredients, and he's narrowed down a suspect or two that may be of interest: gum arabic and gelatin.
Let's pour in this gum arabic and see if it makes the water want to release more CO2 faster. And so it does. Look at that. I'd call that a reaction.
Sure enough, both of the ingredients cause bubbles to burst forth. But there must be more to the Mentos magic than that.
The most common theory about what's going on in this reaction between the candy and the soda is what's called nucleation. Basically, the idea is that the surface of the candy is covered with microscopic pits and lots of more surface area than you can actually see. And each little pit, each little corner provides what's called a nucleation site, or a place where a carbon dioxide bubble can form and escape.
Look at a Mentos close up, and it's like the surface of the moon. And that might be the candy key. Drop one in cola, and every tiny crater provides a site where a CO2 molecule can change to gas. Because Mentos are so pitted, the theory is that millions of CO2 bubbles are formed in a very short space of time. And because the candy sinks and this rapid release of gas happens at the bottom of the cola, you get that famous fountain. To test this nucleation theory, they're going to start with a control: one regular mint Mentos dropped in soda water. And sure enough, it gets the bubbly party started. Now, to do a comparison.
These two candies are made by the same manufacturer, and as far as I'm aware, even using the same process. But the colored version of this actually has a glazing over it. It's a wax coating or a sealer that inhibits the nucleation process that the other one achieves quite readily.
The shiniest surface should lower the nucleation sites, meaning less of an immediate eruption.
That's not doing anything more than the wall of the plastic bottle itself.
Sure enough, with the smooth Mentos, there ain't no whiz with the fizz, proving that nucleation is the prime mover on the active ingredient checklist. And with all the culprits exposed, the MythBusters can say they finally cracked the case of the candy and cola cascade.
So you guys come up with anything? What causes a reaction?
Yep, we sure did. And we also busted everything that we've seen in the media, because not a single one of them came up with a complete explanation of what is going on with this soda.
They all had a piece of the puzzle. In fact, it turns out that it's a combination of most of the explanations we've read. The primary initiator of the reaction is nucleation, the candy helping bubbles to form in the soda. But it turns out that the ingredients that make up the candy match perfectly with the ingredients that make up the soda to create what's called a cascade effect, whereby the soda wants to let go of all of its CO2 instantaneously. And that's what makes the explosion happen.
But the fun ain't done yet. In an attempt to put the power of the cascade to work, Jamie and Adam build a cola concept rocket.
Here's to a successful launch.
You got it.
The rotor blades of a helicopter, even a scaled-down version, are so precisely balanced that apparently the weight of a single postage stamp is enough to render them catastrophically unstable. Tori, Carrie, and Grant have been small-scale testing, and at least on this helicopter, the myth is busted. So now they want to know what it does take to get that lethal instability.
I say we destroy it. This is why we can't have anything nice.
And surely the weight of 8,000 stamps will be enough to wreak the helicopter havoc thereafter.
Guys who sold us this are gonna be watching the show just... Ah.
With the rotors rotating, it looks like the additional weight will lead to the copter calamity they're looking for.
Get in there so you can see it.
Here we go, going full throttle.
Okay. Right there, that was it. That's what we're looking for.
Ain't that the truth? It was 8,000 more stamps than the myth, but at last the guys get the chopper disaster they wanted. But this myth is far from over. With the small-scale copter in pieces, it's time to return to the hangar to test the myth on the real deal.
So Rick, have you ever heard the myth that a postage stamp is enough to unbalance a helicopter, potentially crash it?
I have not heard that myth. I do know that the blade system is very sensitive to items on the rotors, which can include balloons, dust, paint, so it can affect the flight characteristics of the aircraft.
If mere dust can unbalance this chopper, then a postage stamp might have an effect after all. To put this to the test, flight engineer Chad has rigged a series of sensors that can detect the tiniest changes in the balance of the blades.
What are the sensors telling you?
Okay, well this up here is called a velocimeter.
Uh-huh.
It's in a lateral position, so it's going to measure vibrations laterally. If the main rotor mass is doing this, it's going to feel this lateral vibration.
And that's because of some imbalance in the blades.
Correct.
To start the full-scale test, the team needs to get a stamp-free baseline. Rick lifts the chopper into a hover, then spins her round. All the while, Chad's computer is analyzing exactly how balanced the blades are without the stamp. So, the copter has been calibrated. It's time for the moment of truth.
Well, this is really the final test. I mean, you can't beat having a real helicopter. And what we're gonna do is take a postage stamp and put it on the rotor blade and see if that is enough to send it out of balance and possibly cause a catastrophic crash.
A 45-cent stamp versus a $1.3 million machine. It's a David and Goliath story that could leave the MythBusters with a very hefty repair bill.
I'm gonna try one of these.
Adam and Jamie have been conjuring up some Diet Coke and Mentos magic.
3, 2, 1. Wow.
They've carefully worked out exactly why these two products go ballistic. But now they want to launch onto a whole new level.
You know,
Based on everything I'm seeing with what we've done so far, I think we could take this a step further and try and make a rocket out of this reaction.
Rockets are always fun. Let's do it.
Here goes, big boom, Civil War rocket.
Rockets and MythBusters go together like pizza and pepperoni.
Ignition!
The Confederate rocket was a blast, and the salami missile was a sizzler. But now their challenge is to convert an upward fountain into downward thrust. With a rocket to build and nothing but Diet Coke, Mentos, and a bunch of plumbing parts, the boys are in their element.
So we've designed this rocket to take full advantage of this cascading effect. All of this energy being transmitted out of these bottles and straight down is what we're looking for with a very simple, lightweight device.
Dead simple. And as Jamie will demonstrate for us, the PVC tubing redirects the cola cascade from 4 bottles down through a central pipe.
It all comes out there.
But the clever part is a set of magnets holding the Mentos in the pipes until Adam and Jamie are ready for launch. And before you can say National Aeronautics and Space Administration, it's T-minus 5 seconds.
Here's to a successful launch.
You got it.
In 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
That's not enough for a rocket.
Unfortunately, there are leaks, and the cola cascade doesn't produce enough thrust to lift the weight of the piping and 4 bottles of cola. So it's back to the drawing board. And while Jamie goes to work lightening the load, Adam, for reasons known only to himself, puts a bottle of Coke on the lathe. No prizes for guessing what happens next.
Then that could happen, for instance.
I'm thinking he won't want to tell Jamie about this one. Cola probably isn't one of the recommended lubricants for a lathe.
Don't tell Jamie, okay? This is a secret between us.
Luckily for Adam, Jamie's been busy working on a nozzle for a sleeker 1-bottle rocket. And now he's ready for a test.
Okay, let's go for it.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What are you smiling about?
It's another launch failure. But the MythBusters aren't going to give up without a fight.
Okay, ready? Everybody set? 3, 2, 1.
With liftoff falling flat, again, it looks as if the Cola concept rocket has Adam and Jamie beaten. And desperation is setting in. They've been unable to overcome the fact that there's not enough thrust from the cola cascade to get the weight of the bottle and soda airborne. And Adam, for one, isn't taking defeat too well. It's time to change course before he completely loses the plot.
Rocket's a failure.
Let's go for height.
So the next chapter in this crazy cascade escapade is a height challenge. Since Carrie kicked it all off and these guys, the EP Birds, raised the stakes, the internet has been abuzz with Diet Coke and Mentos mania. There's even an unofficial spout record of 18 feet. In an attempt to top the record, Adam and Jamie are going head to head.
I hate competitions.
Yeah, when you lose.
Adam's first with his attempted spurt into the record books. And to increase the pressure of the fountain's flow, he's making a nozzle.
Well, with a couple of extra minutes and a nice lathe and some aluminum, I did what any boy would make. What am I allowed to call it? A plasma sword? Except instead of a limited beam of pure plasma, it's soda. Yeah.
Not so much Yoda, but soda. Outside, and Adam is all set to use the force of the cola cascade to beat the world record of 18 feet.
3, 2, 1.
Hey!
23 feet. It's a home run to start. Next, Jamie steps up to the plate. Reluctantly.
They keep trying to get me to compete, and I don't like it.
Like Adam, Jamie simply uses a nozzle to give his spout more clout.
The only problem I see with this thing is that I've got to get it on there really quickly or I'm going to get sprayed, along with everybody else around here. So that's the trick. I've got to kind of like have 3 hands to operate this thing. That was sort of a misfire. The tube didn't load it straight down.
Not a great start from the Berate one, but a reload later, our mustachioed friend is back.
Well, there you go. How high did that go?
23 feet. It's an honorable draw, but the adrenaline of the competition has clearly gone to Jamie's head. With a mouthful of Mentos and cola, it's not so much a gassy geyser as a gassy geezer. It's probably best that you don't try this at home.
Want to see me do it again?
Next, and the MythBusters are going to join forces and get some real height on this puppy. And they must be confident because they extend the scale to 30 feet. This time they're using Adam's nozzle, and Jamie's gone savory in an attempt to ramp things up.
I have a couple of issues with using candy for this, and the first one is real simple. The candies might well clog the nozzle that we use because we may find that we have to choke down this outlet on the bottle to such a degree that it's smaller than the candies. The second thing is that I figure I can use salt because my understanding of the chemistry involved is that it will cause a better cascade. This release of CO2 is going to happen a lot more rapidly and vigorously with the salt. And not to mention that these nucleation sites that we keep talking about, you know, salt's just loaded with them. So I'm going to try salt, and we'll see whether it performs better than the candy.
So it's salt and Diet Coke. Will it beat the new 23-foot mark?
In 3, 2, 1. Whoa! Oh my God.
I actually could have held it. It blew it out of my hands for a second, so I think I can probably get another foot or two.
You hit 29 feet.
Well, I could probably make it to 30 if you want to have another go.
Another go? You betcha.
2, 1.
Oh! Dude!
They try various combinations of candies, salt, and the other enhancers they've unearthed over the course of their investigation. Before they get everything just right with nucleation site-rich rock salt.
All right, we're ready up here. Oh! Oh! Dude! That went a full 4 feet above the meter. 31, 34 feet, dude. That is not shabby.
34 feet. It's the new benchmark to beat.
Let's call it a day.
All right.
I think we've set a fine high water mark.
It's all with salt.
Back with the Helly's Angels, and the team has posted a stamp on the blades of this chopper. And they're about to find out if it's enough to catastrophically unbalance the rotors.
I mean, if you think about it, this helicopter cost $1.3 million, and they're willing for us to go mess around with it. If they're not worried about it, I don't think anything's gonna go wrong.
You know, the game's not over. They're not up in the air yet.
True.
The pressure's on pilot Rick. With $1 million chopper in his hands, one false move could break the MythBusters budget. But with the heli hovering happily, this myth is sinking fast.
I think we might be busted here.
The chopper has survived intact. So, did the stamp make any difference at all?
So, Chad, what did the computer come up with?
Well, with our first flight, without the postage stamp applied,
yeah.
With my measurements, our hover lateral, which is the side-to-side motion, measured a 0.173 inches per second, or IPS.
So that's no stamp.
That is no stamp.
Okay.
Okay? With the application of the stamp, hover lateral was a 0.174. So it only changed 1/1000th of an IPS, which is actually minuscule Because right now I would let this helicopter go with no problem at 0.174.
All right, thanks.
The stamp did next to nothing. It's looking like this myth should be returned to sender. But the team do want to try one last thing.
Now, for those of you out there who are helicopter enthusiasts, I know you've been thinking all through the show, they're only concentrating on the main rotor. What about the tail boom? Well, today, we're gonna try the tail boom too.
It's the twist in the tail. One stamp on the main rotor, and now one on the back one too. And there's no hover test for this one. Instead, the team is going for broke.
Are we nuts? We got stamps on the top rotor and the tail rotor.
Well, here's the thing, if we're wrong about this, we're gonna have a really bad day.
Except for Grant, the team has put all its eggs in one basket to bust this myth once and for all. Let's hope none get cracked.
August 1, roger, clear for takeoff, on the go.
They're up and away, and it's so far so good. Even with stamps on the main rotor and the tail boom, the chopper's flying straight as an arrow.
So cool. Gee, it feels like those postage stamps are really helping the flight.
Carrie stays nervous, but this bird ain't gonna drop out of the sky.
Wait, are we going back? Yeah. Up the tower. I'm not ready to go back.
Oh, he's gonna go for the slide right in. That is how you park it.
Touchdown. The team is back in one piece, which means it's time to wrap up this postal parable.
Okay, Rick, well, we've been out in your helicopter today. We've run a bunch of tests. Postage stamp on a helicopter blade. What do you think?
It had no effect. I felt no appreciable difference.
Definitely busted.
Definitely busted.
But viewers, keep sending in those stories, because that was a fun one.
So what do you want to do now?
Well, I don't think we're done with candy and soda by a long shot. I mean, this thing is positively viral. It's everywhere. I think that what we could add to this is by looking for the next big thing.
Well, I've got a ton of stuff that I get every day on email from people about all sorts of things that they can do with crap they've got laying around their house.
So do I.
So Adam and Jamie have got explosion envy, and to soothe their egos, they're going to weave some homemade magic of their own, as only the MythBusters can. Armed with science, which they're not afraid to use, they have to follow 3 simple rules. It must be safe, use only household ingredients, and of course, it has to be spectacular. First out of the blocks is Adam, and he's intending to set the World Wide Web alight with a towering inferno of soapy water.
We're trying something an old friend of mine gave me, which is that if you bubble methane up through soapy water, you'll end up with a column of bubbles. Because the methane's lighter than air, it helps lift the column and keep it stable. And then when that column gets a certain height, however high you want it, you can light it, and the whole thing goes whoom in flame. And I have wanted to try it from the very second he told me that this might be possible.
And with a garden sprinkler on the end of a methane hose in a bucket of foamy water, it's not long before he has his very own bust of bubble.
I have been a bubble sculptor for about 20 years. The bubbles are a very fine way to sculpt the real world in a modular form because they are transient. They are not going to last very long. They help us remember how tenuous our grip on reality really is. That is why I sculpted the bubbles.
Their first attempt is a little lopsided, but Adam is poised to feed the fire of his pyromania.
That is so cool. It's water and it's burning. And now it's gone.
Second time around, and for Jamie and Adam, it's onwards and upwards. The bubbles are sticking together nicely, and the lighter-than-air methane is pulling the flammable column skywards.
At first it's like, okay, it looks like it's working, but then it starts to get out into the area that defies physics.
Not only is it getting more fascinating, but it's increasing in funniness every minute. Okay, you ready? I just don't want to lose it.
Wow! That was like a movie. That was like the beast dying at the end of the movie.
Well, I don't see anything on fire up there.
That was really cool. I have to say, for my money, that rivals the Canyon Soda. However, the Canyon Soda, that's safe enough for any 4-year-old to do. I mean, at least they're safe from everything except getting yelled at by their parents. This one, it's not safe pretty much for any of our viewers. We've done it. Now you don't have to.
Next up in the household histrionics, Jamie is getting his hands dirty.
What you doing?
Come down and check it out. I'm making a smoke bomb.
Nice.
I've found a recipe on the net, which I'm anxious to try. I've had years of using smoke bombs for effects, but I've always purchased them. So now I'm gonna figure out what really goes into them.
With just saltpeter and sugar, that's it?
You make it like peanut brittle. You know, you get it kind of, get the sugar hot and the saltpeter hot until it's like molassesy. And you can put match heads in it, apparently, so that when it cools, they're there, kind of like a fuse.
This is a replica of the cupcake that Jamie got when he was 9. It's the old Heinemann smoke cookie recipe. And it has something to do with the Heinemann transition into manhood.
In an attempt to make a point about his manhood, Adam whips up a larger batch, but finds out quickly that when cooking with flammable ingredients, it can get hot in the kitchen.
So that's what can happen. And that's why you don't try this at home.
So, now that Adam's been banned from the kitchen, all they have to do is wait for Jamie's smoke bomb cupcake to set. Let's come back when they're done. Inspired by the Diet Coke and Mentos phenomenon, Adam and Jamie are trying to find their very own recipe for homemade fun. But so far, their experiments have been too hot for any normal household to handle. Now, Adam's going to find out if the smoke bomb cupcake he and Jamie baked earlier will rival Diet Coke and Mentos for spectacular fun and satisfy his desire for revenge.
I think you all remember when Carrie and Tori decided that it would be a good idea to shock me during Baghdad Battery.
Oh! Do you feel God?
Well, all I gotta say is, payback is rough.
They say revenge is a dish best served cold.
That's a good puff of smoke. All right, let's do regular black powder.
What is that? Wait.
Is it a hockey puck? It's a flaming hockey puck.
It's resisting!
Put it out! Oh, that's great!
Ah, kill it! In the search for the next big thing, and in the search for some payback, the smoke bomb failed miserably on both counts. That's not the kind of thing that is actually spectacular to watch, nor is it the type of thing that scared Grant, Tori, and Carrie.
Get out of our shop! Now!
So the smoke bomb cupcake was nothing but hot air.
Okay!
But the next test could jumpstart things. A hydrogen and potato chip bomb?
The trick is that you poke a hole in the bottom and you poke a hole in the top, and you pump in some hydrogen, some gaseous hydrogen. And if you do it just right and you light the top, at a certain point when it reaches that golden, air to fuel mixture, then the whole thing blows up and it will remove the tin without even disturbing the chips.
While they get set up, let's go over to Adam, who can tell us a bit more about how it works.
You've got a can you've filled with hydrogen, which is lighter than air, like helium, so it wants to rise. You provide a little hole for it to rise through, and when you put a match over that hole, the hydrogen mixing with oxygen at the exit create a little flame. Now, it's burning hydrogen out of the can, which means it's pulling oxygen in from underneath. When the correct air-fuel mixture in the can is reached, the flame up top goes down inside and boom, blows that can right off the chips.
So, let's see it in action.
All set?
Yep.
Okay.
That was fast.
Are
you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I didn't wear ear protection though, because you said I didn't need it.
That's what I was told.
It was fast and loud enough to give Jamie the shock of his life. But despite losing an eardrum or two, they can't wait to do it again. This time with ear protection and a remote control ignition system, otherwise known as a taper on a stick.
That would be a light, wouldn't it? You heard it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Adam and Jamie are uncertain because the hydrogen burns with a clear white flame. But burning it is. It's pulling oxygen through the bottom of the can. And when the mixture is just so,
That is very cool.
very cool. But Adam isn't satisfied yet.
I'm gonna try another, see if we can get the chips to stand straight up. Almost!
Close, but no cigar. The question now is, does it measure up to the candy and soda sensation?
In comparison with the candy and soda criteria for a spectacular explosion, I'd say it comes off fantastically in one sense and terrible in the other. Hydrogen, pure gaseous hydrogen, isn't something that everybody has, nor is it something that's safe to play with. However, the results of blasting the can off of a stack of chips and leaving them almost intact, I mean, it just makes me smile just thinking about it.
After a timeout to think about ear protection protocol, Adam is ready for the next test.
This is one I've known about for a long time. It's called dry ice bomb. Years ago, I went to an ice company to pick up some stuff for Jamie. It's like 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And it said, you cannot buy dry ice unless you're 18. And I thought, why would that be? And so I said, hey, well, how come you can't buy dry ice unless you're over 18? And the guy goes, oh, because you can stick it in a 2-liter bottle and make a huge bomb out of it. Blows up and it like set car alarms off across the street. It's really cool. And I was thinking, you're new here, aren't you? Since then, I have always wanted to try it.
So apparently with nothing more than a 2-liter soda bottle and some dry ice, there's some big boom fun to be had. But Adam is slightly concerned with safety on this one.
Look at it this way. I'm crazy, and even I'm putting on a massive amount of padding to do this one. Oh yeah, the cod piece.
Meanwhile, Jamie is working on the dry ice.
I'm cutting the dry ice up because we need to fit it into the neck of the bottle. Once it's in there, we're going to add water to it, which has the amazing effect of melting the ice really quickly. It turns it all into gas, and all that gas has to go somewhere.
So add a little water to the dry ice in the bottle, and the dry ice turns into CO2 gas. And with the lid secured, Adam and Jamie have a pressure vessel on their hands. Now, it's just a matter of time.
Cue dramatic music. It's gonna go any second, I swear. Stay frosty, people. This is still gonna blow.
It's kind of like watching the grass grow, except there's an explosion at the end of it.
Wow! Dude, that is intensely loud.
I gotta say, that's louder than a gunshot.
Now you see it, now you don't. And what was a plastic soda bottle is now a million pieces of twisted shrapnel.
That is amazing.
That's one of those things that is, you know, it doesn't look like much, but it's such a shockwave that, you know, I can't imagine this killing you, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it when it goes off.
No, it would be a hell of a lot of trauma. You would definitely lose your hearing if you were anywhere near this thing. Well, you know, this is a lot of fun, but I don't think anything we came up with came close to the candy and soda. I mean, it is one of the most perfect parlor tricks I've ever seen. Not only is it spectacular, not only is it totally safe, but everything you need to do it, you can get at literally any store there is.
Yeah, we kind of cheated a little bit. Not everything we used was household, per se.
Yeah, I have no doubt that the very morning after this episode airs, you and I will have thousands of suggestions of other new things to try. And maybe that's another episode, but I think we can put this one to bed and go home.
Okay.